Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, two guests join us live in studio. Author and talk show host Zoe Williams and comedian Ray Grady talk about their Comedic Relationship Roundtable Series, where comedy collides with connection. These guys are both insightful and funny. Trust me, you don't want to miss hour two today when we talk with Zoe Williams and Ray Grady. Should be a lot of fun. In our third hour, it's Grammy-winning jazz musician and legendary composer Kenny Garrett, who joins us today in hour three to reflect on playing with the late, great Miles Davis. And he previews his weekend residency at the Blue Note in New York City. We'll do all that in our final hour today. Looking forward to being joined by Kenny Garrett. But in this first hour today, let's talk politics with our regular contributor, noted civil rights attorney and towering public intellectual, Connie Rice. Before I bring Connie on, let me just... obviously, I'm anxious to get Connie's thoughts on the fifth anniversary of the death, the commemoration of the death of George Floyd, in part because I know no one who's done more from the outside helping to reform police departments than Connie Rice has. And we all saw in the lead up to the fifth commemoration of the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, the Trump administration, in a very calculated, mean-spirited, and ugly way, announced that the Department of Justice is turning a blind eye to police accountability in cities all across this country. Indeed, as I said last week, in cities where African Americans have been murdered, like Minneapolis, and where they murdered, of course, George Floyd, and Louisville, where they murdered Breonna Taylor, and Memphis, where they murdered Tyree Nichols, and on the list goes. The Trump administration just turned its back on police accountability. And on this program yesterday, you recall our first hour. Today it's Connie. Yesterday, it was DeRoy Murdoch, and their politics are very different, as you well know. But I ran a list of things yesterday that all these black conservatives, I think, ought to be outraged about, including this particular issue. And the only thing that got the ire of DeRoy Murdoch and, broadly speaking, black conservatives is they're a little concerned about what they're doing to the Blacksonian, Trump going out to the Black Museum in D.C. But all this other stuff, no police accountability, rumors of pardoning Derek Chauvin, abandoning DE&I. The list goes on and on and on. None of that seems to have bothered these black conservatives. And as we all know, the number of black folk voting for Donald Trump this time was up more than it was the last time. So it's just disturbing in ways I can't even describe. Connie can dig into it better than I can. But when you look at those numbers of the black people who turned out for Donald Trump this time around, and you see the way he's showing up every day, insulting, humiliating, embarrassing, exploiting African Americans in any way he possibly can, it's unthinkable that they would turn their back in this moment on police accountability. Here now, the mayor of Minneapolis, who had his say about this decision of Donald Trump. The mayor's name, of course, is Jacob Frey. Listen now to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey.
Minneapolis is serious about our commitment to police reform, even if the President of the United States is not. Just yesterday, the independent monitor for our settlement agreement said that Minneapolis thus far has made more progress in the first year around police reform and creating a foundation for change than virtually any city under a consent decree in the United States. We're going to move forward with that work, with or without the White House. It also needs to be said that the timing of this move for a dismissal is entirely predictable. The Trump administration is a mess. And of course, it is predictable that they would move for a dismissal the very same week that George Floyd was murdered 5 years ago. What this shows is that all Donald Trump really cares about is political theater. This is predictable. The judge gets to decide whether to dismiss the case, and I can't speak to what the judge will decide, but I can speak to what we are doing. Here's the bottom line. We're doing it anyway. We will comply with every sentence of every paragraph of the 169-page consent decree that we signed this year.
That is the mayor of one of those cities. Indeed, all American cities now cannot count on the federal government to get involved in issues of police accountability. But there you have the mayor of Minneapolis, where they murdered George Floyd 5 years ago, Jacob Fry. When we come forward, I'll cut her loose for the hour. Connie Rice on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
1455 Frazee, San Diego. CordellCordell.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Connie Rice. All right, Connie, I played that clip to commence our conversation today. Wanted the audience to hear what at least one mayor of this city has to say about the Trump administration turning a blind eye and a deaf ear toward police accountability. Before I get to that, though, just your overarching thoughts. We are 5 years since the murder of George Floyd, and I reported on this program yesterday that the New York Times over the weekend, we were off on Monday, of course, for Memorial Day, but over the weekend, the New York Times did a pretty in-depth piece about police murders over the past 5 years. And not only have the murders of black people not abated at all over the last 5 years, indeed, the numbers have gone up. The numbers of police murders have gone up over the last 5 years, and everybody, the government, corporate America, turning, again, a deaf ear and blind eye to any kind of DE&I program, all these promises that were made 5 years ago, most never kept. So before we get into the specifics of police reform, which I want to talk about just for a second here, just your overarching thoughts about where we are or where we are not 5 years since the murder of George Floyd.
Hey, Tavis. I think that over the 5 years, it's a mixed story, and we don't have the ending of that story yet. For example, let's not take anything away from the fact that you had young African-American leaders from a hashtag launch a global movement to make Black Lives Matter. That has never been done in history, probably never will be done again. So let's just give them another bow, okay? In the wake of that extraordinary moment where you took a hashtag and forced 20 million folks to react by getting up off of their couches and march across this country from small southern towns to big cities. Everywhere in this country, you had 20 million, mostly white people marching. That shook the profession of policing to its core because it was white people. They expect African Americans to protest and riot and protest. We've been doing that for 400 years. That's built in to the model like a Sub-Zero into a kitchen, right? They expect that. But when you had 20 million white folks, that shook the foundations. It scared conservatives and caused a huge backlash and blue lash that we're now seeing. I call it the big retraction. We had one right after the Emancipation Proclamation and Reconstruction, huge retraction that ended, it lasted for 100 years, including the Klan, the Black Codes, Jim Crow. And then we had the Civil Rights Revolution. This is the big retraction of the Civil Rights Revolution. And in that is police reform, okay? So it was interesting to me in that article that it was a little bit of a mixed bag. If you remember back to Michael Brown in Missouri, to go from 2015 or 2014 forward, you'll see that the good news is that the fatal shootings of unarmed African Americans has gone down really big time. In 2015, there were 152 unarmed African Americans that we know of who were fatally shot by cops. In 2024, it was down to 53. That's a big drop, okay? So unarmed those videos that got everybody with any kind of consciousness outraged. Innocent, unarmed, unprovoking, complying African Americans being shot by cops. Those videos, okay? That's changed. Police killings have gone up overall, but what's interesting? Did you see in the article that in Democratic-controlled states, fatal shootings by cops declined by 15%.
I saw that. Yeah.
In red states, they went up 23%. So in states that have told cops, Trump's back in charge, you get to do whatever the hell you want, unleash the Kraken, the shootings have gone up, the harassment has gone up, police feel vindicated, the bad cops, the Derek Chauvins and the enforcers who have no empathy with poor African Americans, poor immigrants, or anybody who isn't like them. They're supposed to put the clamp down on them. They've been unleashed. In bluer states where you saw the mayor of Minneapolis saying, we don't care if the feds want to retrench, we're not going to, we're going ahead with reform. That's where you have like a two-track process. So on the whole, yeah, the important successes of that movement, I don't want to diminish them, but on the whole, all the legislative efforts, they've kind of been retracted or failed or never passed in the first place. Remember the progressive prosecutors who got put into office? Oh, yeah. They've been primarily taken out of office. The Justice and Policing Act did not even make it to the Senate. So on the whole, I'd say 4 steps back, 1 step forward. And Tavis, if you want to know, after 40 years, as you said, I did everything I could inside. I wanted to know, could you take the good cops of all races and create something new with the community, a humane, safety policing that actually made poor people safe, as opposed to fodder for mass incarceration, mass stop and frisk, mass containment suppression, right? Could you create something the opposite of that? Could you do a heal and build kind of policing? And the answer is yes. We did it in L.A. So actually the big police reform, the transformative police reform, happened before George Floyd. Then the question becomes, once you've created that with the community and you have joint ownership of that with the community, I'm talking about specifically in L.A., the Community Safety Partnership Policing Unit. That's been documented independently to reduce violent crime with fewer arrests, and even the OGs and the blood bounty hunters said those are good cops, okay, because they protect our grandmothers and our children, and they don't unfairly come after us, okay? So you've got a policing model that everybody in the barrio and in the ghetto say is good. What does traditional policing do? What does LAPD's massive law enforcement culture do? They try to undo it and kill it. So if you ask me after 40 years, can you create something different? The answer is yes. Can you sustain it in a hostile paramilitary police enforcement culture, which is the blueprint and the DNA of American policing? The answer is no. And so the question becomes, now that we've done as much as we can with the old system, we've got the proof that we need a new model. We need a new safety policing model that the community creates from scratch. Because traditional American policing descends from plantation policing. Its legacy was formed in slavery. That's why you have containment suppression. We want to move away from that 180 degrees. You can do it with a carve-out, but you can't keep it safe. We've got to start over. And since they're getting rid of the old civil rights regime, all the civil rights laws, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, and they're gonna do white people's rights now and import racist South Africans who miss apartheid. They've told us, so all you folks who voted for Trump, he's just slapped every African American and every African national leader and population in the world in the mouth, okay? Now that you see what white nationalism looks like, it's time for us to get a blueprint for something completely new.
So this is where it gets good, because you mentioned BLM earlier, and I've got a couple of questions relative to BLM 5 years after the murder of George Floyd. Put a pin in that for the moment, but I want to start with this. And there are, again, 2 or 3 questions in my head at the same time. Let me get them out as quickly as I can. The first is this. You mentioned BLM moments ago. This is what I heard you say a moment ago. We need a new model. Knowing you, I can't imagine that you necessarily disagree with the solution that BLM put on the table. But their solution was that we need a new model and we should defund police. We don't need police. That's what BLM has been advancing for some time now. So here you come agreeing with them that we need a new model, but that's not the model that you're suggesting, are you, that we defund police, that we don't need cops?
I agree we don't need racist, inhumane, extra-legal cops who are participating in insurrections and rounding up black folks without constitutional order. Okay, I agree that we don't want those folks. Everybody agrees on that, except the folks who want those kinds of cops. In this society, you got to have some kind of police. You have to have some kind of safety force. Okay, if you live in a small island where everybody knows each other, you may not need police. That's not the United States. You know, that's not going to happen in my lifetime or your lifetime. I've never said defund the police. I have said refund the community. The community has been completely drained of all upward mobility infrastructure. We've created an underclass that Derek Bell told us was at the bottom of the well.
That's right.
And we left them there. You know, my friends are out planning image awards and boules and cruises, you know, and they're doing high school reunions to these. Yeah, my friends are okay for now. All right, you and I are doing fine. We don't have to worry about food. We don't have to dodge bullets getting to school. But we left a third of the black community at the bottom of the well. And we have, and they will tell. I've never been asked by any of my underclass, poor African American or poor Latino or poor white clients, Connie, get rid of all police. They've said, get us police who protect us. from gangs, from cartels, from human traffickers. We need protection. So I have represented underclass Africa. I've represented the George Floyd families of the world. I've represented the Rodney Kings of the world. And I've represented the good cops of the world. And no one in those communities has ever asked me to get rid of the police, okay? They've asked me to get rid of the police abuse.
Yeah.
They've asked me to get rid of a racist police culture, a sexist police culture, a hateful police culture. And they've asked for the cops who care about them as human beings and can see communities that don't just survive. They struggle every day and they surmount incredible obstacles that you and I would fold under, okay? Yeah. That's what they've asked for. So the new model isn't no police. It is a huge dose of what Black Lives Matter has asked for, which is community-generated safety systems with enforcement that keeps folks safe. Yeah. That's the vision.
So my next question is this then. In this moment where we see the federal government in ways that they have not done in a long time, just completely, again, turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to police accountability in police departments. The Trump administration does not care if police crack you upside the head, shoot you in the back unarmed as you're trying to run away. Doesn't matter. They don't care about police accountability in this country, and they so said days ago, leading up again to the 5th anniversary of George Floyd. My question very quickly is this. Does this moment, given the way they've played their hand, the Trump administration that is, does this strengthen the fight for police reform going forward, or does it gut it? Does it just take the will away from those who've been fighting, as you have, for police reform? What does it do?
It deflates you and paralyzes you only if you let it. Okay, that's what they want. Okay, this isn't just they want police impunity. Okay, forget DEI, it's WEI. It's white entitlement and impunity that they want. They want white nationalism. So what you're seeing is them demonstrating white nationalism. You know how the Project 2025 talked about traumatizing federal workers? They want to traumatize people of color. Yeah. They want to terrorize immigrants into self-deporting. They want to terrorize us into giving up. Well, I'm sorry. My great-grandparents and grandparents did not lay down their weapons with the Klan rioting through Birmingham, Alabama. My grandmother sat in her darkened kitchen with a long gun over her knee waiting for the Klan. She had courage. What excuse do we have to be bullied by a bunch of morons who couldn't get a 2-car funeral to the cemetery? We're going to fold with them? Really? Yeah. Tell that to Harriet Tubman.
No, I hear you. Leave it to Connie. I mentioned DEI. She came with WEI, white entitlement and impunity. We got somebody hashtag that right quick. Somebody hashtag WEI, white entitlement and impunity. Somebody hashtag that right quick. I got 2 minutes here. Let me just do this right quick, and we'll continue as we move forward here. Well, actually, let me just set this frame up because I don't know. We can do it in 90 seconds. But you said something a moment ago that I have been thinking about. I have not had a chance to really delve into a deep dive conversation about it on this program, but I've been thinking about it for months now, and leave it to Connie Rice again to, bring this to the fore. So I've been thinking about the things that happened over the last decade or so that caused these white folk to just lose their mind. And I don't mean all the white people. I love the good white people. I'm talking about the Trump MAGA folks. The people who wrote Project 2025. What are those things that happened that just caused them to lose their freaking minds? And how do we, in retrospect, rethink what those moments were? I'm not suggesting that those moments should be undone, but I do think historically we have to have some understanding of what brought this moment on. How did we get to this point? What was the tripwire, as it were? Connie mentions a couple things. I want to add a couple more to that list, and then I'll let Connie unpack this again when we come forward in about 60 seconds here. So she mentions that these progressive DAs, they came and they went, and they did. I mean, look how fast every major city was electing a progressive DA. Now, basically, all of them are gone. Alvin Bragg's still holding on in New York, and Alvin wasn't the most progressive. I love Alvin, but he wasn't the most. He was no Chase Boudin. He was no George Gascon. Boudin in San Francisco, Gascon in Los Angeles, and there are others. But these progressive DAs came, and everybody heralded that as this is a big moment. We're finally electing progressive DAs in this country. They all came, and whoosh, they all went. Somebody said grand opening, grand closing. That's how fast that happened. Connie mentioned the progressive DAs. She mentioned, Black Lives Matter, the advent of Black Lives Matter, how that just drove people crazy when they saw millions of people all around the world rallying around our cause. That drove them crazy. Let's take a step back before BLM. Barack Obama's election drove them crazy. You will never convince me that Donald Trump is not in some ways a direct response to the election of Barack Hussein Obama. And I'm not suggesting we shouldn't have done it. Don't misquote me. I'm just saying we have to have a real conversation, I think, about the moments that led to them just losing their mind. I want to unpack that with Connie when we come forward. Since she went there, I'm following her. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City's Rent Guidelines Board is adjusting proposed hikes for 2-year leases on rent-stabilized apartments, now ranging from 3.75% to 7.75%.
As the board implements its mandate to consider the cost of operating rent-stabilized buildings while maintaining reasonable rents, it must also consider the economic uncertainty reflected in much of the testimony.
1-year lease increases remain unchanged. Final votes are set for June 27th, with changes taking effect in October. Connecticut police have arrested a person of interest in Tuesday's mall shooting that injured 5 people. Shots rang out Tuesday afternoon at the Brass Mill Center in Waterbury, hitting 5 people. All 5 victims are expected to recover. And it's National Hamburger Day, and In-N-Out Burger tops the list in a Delish social media poll for best fast food burger. Fans also gave shout-outs to Shake Shack, Culver's, and Five Guys. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks missed out on the chance to reach 500 for the first time in 2 years. They lost at home last night to the Atlanta Dream 88-82. The Sparks dropped to 2-4. Next game for the Sparks is Friday night in Las Vegas to play the Aces. The Dodgers pulled away for a 9-5 win in Cleveland. Third straight game for Shohei Ohtani with a home run. He now has 20. The Yankees held on for a 3-2 win over the Angels in Anaheim. 4 straight loss for the Angels after their 8-game winning streak. Both conference finals in the NBA playoffs are at 3-1. Indiana beat New York last night 130-121. A brilliant game for Indiana guard Tyrese Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. Indiana wins the Eastern Conference if they beat the Knicks Thursday night in Game 5 in New York. Oklahoma City can win the Western Conference tonight. OKC is at home against Minnesota for Game 5. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Connie Rice. We will get to this in this half hour. But believe it or not, today is the 600th day of the war in Gaza. 600 days since the Hamas terror group launched that attack on October 7th, 2023. So we are at day 600 in this war. And here's some fascinating and interesting news. Ehud Olmert, who was the Israeli prime minister, you'll recall, what years? 2006 to 2009. Yeah, 2006, 2009. Ehud Olmert was the prime minister. There had been Benjamin Netanyahu. For those who followed this, there was not Netanyahu. He went away. He came back, but while he was away, Ehud Olmert was the prime minister of Israel, and he has come out and said on CNN, and I quote, that Israel is engaging in war crimes. Yeah, you heard me correct. This is the former prime minister of Israel, who has now said that his country is, in fact, engaged in war crimes. He has blasted the country's political leadership, that would be Bibi Netanyahu, and the conduct of its military, telling CNN that he is no longer able to defend Israel against accusations of war crimes. He talked specifically on CNN about Israel's 11-week blockade of humanitarian aid into Gaza and the soaring number of Palestinians being killed. And he said, and I quote, a rhetorical question, but a question nonetheless, what is it if not a war crime? Strong words from former prime minister of Israel. What is it if not a war crime? But today is day 600. We'll get Connie to opine on that before we wrap this conversation at the top of the hour. But we were talking, and I want to return to that now, about how we got to this situation. I love Connie's frame and her phrase, as I always do. She calls it the big retraction. We are now in this moment of the big retraction, as Connie calls it. And that big retraction, there were some moments that led us to this big retraction. Connie, you mentioned all these progressive DAs being elected and then unelected. You mentioned BLM. I threw in Barack Obama. So I just want to have a conversation for a few minutes because I think it might be fruitful to just pick your brain about what led, over the last decade or so, what led to this big retraction? What led to these MAGA white folk just losing their minds?
Well, the immediate triggers, I think you already identified. It was the election of President Obama, the Floyd marches, but those were just momentary triggers. They were shocks to their political worlds. And I'm talking about white voters with zero interracial IQ and who have been told that the reason that they're cooking meth in a trailer is because 3 Negroes got into Harvard, scapegoating everybody. The reason you left high school in 70, didn't even go to high school is because some poor immigrant from El Salvador fleeing gangs came over the border.
Yeah.
The folks who have been galvanized into scapegoating everybody else for their problems, even though their problems are shared by the folks they're scapegoating. For example, you got to go back a little further. Tavis, you and I may disagree about this, but when we're talking about racial stuff, you and I feel it as African Americans, and we have to focus on racial dynamics, race and gender dynamics. We have to focus on those because that's how we survived as a people in 400 years of slavery. So that's a given, and I'm not suggesting that that's wrong or anything else. But if you want to understand the country, we're not the issue. We're not even we're not even a footnote. That's what segregation is about. That's what apartheid is about. You put the people who you don't want to see and who remind you of the injustice of your system, you put them far away from you and you send your police force in there to suppress them.
That's right.
So you don't have to deal with them. And you'll let them entertain you and they'll let you play sports for them and they'll let a few Negroes into Harvard and Princeton. But fundamentally, the fundamental injustice of the dynamics of the tectonic plates of the injustice don't change. But if you go out, this began in the 50s and 60s. We began the deconstruction of the middle class, which African Americans just recently joined, even later than white Americans.
Sure.
But after World War II, we started engineering upward mobility for the middle class, lower middle class up. We built Levittown. We had the GI Bill. We had all kinds of infrastructure investments. So we were actually using legislation and the power and the money of the United States to build an escalator that went up. Okay, not a crystal stair, but an escalator that if you did the work and got on it, and that you would be guaranteed some kind of upward mobility. You would do better than your parents. Okay, instead, what we did in the 70s and 80s and 90s is the ruling class began to make deals around the world that globalized the economy without bringing the American worker with it. You can make big changes, Tavis, but you got to integrate them and phase them in and make sure that nobody loses. Same thing for racial justice. We passed the civil rights laws, but we didn't do the integration and the transition and the acculturation so that people wouldn't turn on it, okay? We're doing the same thing with AI. AI is about to create a whole army of unemployed civil workers and white-collar workers, just like we wiped out the blue-collar workers with the globalization of the economy. We're about to do the same thing with no plan, no transition, no retraining, no job protections. We're about to jump off that cliff with no preparation, too. So I think you got to go back further and look at we engineered downward mobility, reverse Robin Hood. We funneled $51 trillion into the top 1% over the last 50 years. That's Tom Hartman's analysis. So when you do reverse Robin Hood and you take from the poor and the working class, we're not even talking about the underclass. They were left at the bottom of the well. What's happening now is that white people are experiencing what African Americans have experienced for generations. And they don't want it, and they're not going to accept it. So in thrashing around for something new, they said, well, vote for a black man. He's not part of the establishment. He'll change the system, but they elected Barack Obama, who is the establishment. He didn't change it. So then they went to Trump. And they prefer Captain Chaos. They prefer a moronocracy rather than a system that has ground them into dust and out of the middle class. They can't even afford to buy Doritos. They can't afford diapers. But they elected a man who's going to make their system worse. It's like you get so crazed, you vote for your executioner. That's where we are. So it's the thrashing about against a system that is broken for the majority of folks. And that's not African Americans. I'm talking about white people now. Yeah. That's the bigger frame. Within that, everything that benefits us is going to get swept away. Not because that's their focus, but because they're unhappy. The system isn't working for them, and we're put up as the scapegoats. It's because black people. It's because of woke culture. I don't even know what woke means, but it means anything black, right? Yeah. DEI means you see somebody black, you think DEI, we got to get rid of them. That's what's been unleashed. And we need a response that says, hold up. You know, this delusion stuff has got to stop. Yeah. You all are nuts. Here's the real problem. And we don't have any leaders right now. So the leadership is going to have to come from the ground up.
Yeah, speaking of no leaders right now, I was starting to read a piece this morning before I came on the air. I didn't get a chance to finish it, but I recommend it to you, although I've not read it, but I intend to before the day's over. Speaking of leaders, this piece is on NBCnews.com, and the piece is titled, Obama World Loses Its Shine in a Changing, Hurting Democratic Party. That's the headline. Obama World Loses Its Shine in a changing, hurting Democratic Party. Now, we know Joe Biden lost his shine. Now there are folk who are opining that Obama world has lost its shine in this changing and hurting Democratic Party. That piece is at NBCnews.com. I haven't had a chance to read it myself as yet, but I recommend it to you because I intend to read it myself later today. When we come forward, as I mentioned a few moments ago, today is day 600 of the war in Gaza, and one former Israeli prime minister says he can no longer defend Israel against accusations of war crimes. We'll unpack that with Connie Rice when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
12. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are two big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
We love you. Love you.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Connie Rice. People oftentimes ask me, Connie, what it is that I read, and I have a long reading list trying to prepare myself as best I can every day for this 3-hour program. So I'm reading stuff literally all over the world, trying to make sure I have a world view when I step into this studio. And I'm always amazed at the stories that we don't hear over here, the stories that we don't cover or talk about in the mainstream press. There's a reason for that, and it's called corporate news media. I digress on that for now. But the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Olmert, who was Prime Minister from 2006 to 2009, he was the 12th Prime Minister of Israel, wrote an op-ed piece in an Israeli newspaper. And I want to just read to you what he had to say, some of what he had to say. This is the former Prime Minister of Israel. Take a listen. Thousands of innocent Palestinians are being killed. Thousands of innocent Palestinians are being killed, as well as many Israeli soldiers. Just pulling some lines from this op-ed he wrote. The government of Israel is currently waging a war without purpose, without goals or clear planning, and with no chances of success. Never since its establishment has the state of Israel waged such a war. The criminal gang, the criminal gang headed by Benjamin Netanyahu has set a precedent without equal in Israel's history in this area too. Pointless victims exist among the Palestinian population. We're reaching monstrous proportions. Recent operations in Gaza have nothing to do with legitimate war goals. This is now a private political war. Its immediate result is the transformation of Gaza into a humanitarian disaster area. I repeat, the Israeli government's war has no chances of success. Thousands of innocent Palestinians are being killed, as well as many Israeli soldiers. And he refers to Benjamin Netanyahu as the head of a criminal gang. Those are the words, again, of Ehud Olmert, former Prime Minister of Israel from 2006 to 2009. Strong language. Again, this is the kind of story you're not going to read every day in our news media. I had to go searching for it myself. When we come forward in our remaining moments, I'll give it all to Connie to let Connie respond to what the former Prime Minister had to say, and what she makes of the fact that we are now on day 600 of this war in Gaza. Connie Rice, when we come forward.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
BET and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Last 4 minutes belong to you, Connie. Take it away.
Tavis, on October 7th, when Hamas attacked and slaughtered 1,200 Israelis and took hostages, I said it was a war crime, a crime against humanity, and an act of terror. When Israel set out to respond and was told by its own military counterinsurgency, counterterrorism experts, as well as American military experts in counterterrorism and counterinsurgency, that you cannot do shock and awe to stop an ideology or terrorist groups, if that's what you want to call Hamas. What you have to do is have targeted strikes, go after making the population that supports them, give them what they need to thrive, and you will bleed away the support for the insurgency and for the folks who are inflicting your pain. That is what Israel was told. Instead of heeding that, they launched a mass war of revenge. And now I can say the same thing that I said about the attack on October 7th, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the use of terror by withholding food, by withholding medical supplies, all of that is violations of the law of war. So what we have now, and all of my Jewish allies, and Arab and Palestinian and Muslim allies, all of us have said from the beginning, condemn October 7th as well as this disproportionate mass slaughter impacting action by the Israeli military. And Tavis, there's no solution through this. There's no solution through the way the Hamas behaves. There's also no solution in the way Israel is conducting itself. So I'm glad that the editorials are there, but the United States media has been absolute derelict.
Yeah.
How you don't report on 50,000, mostly women and children being killed. How you don't report on, you do need to report on the hostages. You need to talk about the impact of anti-Semitism. All of that is absolutely valid and needs to be done. But the fact that we ignore this massive atrocity against people who are mainly just trying to survive and have nothing to do with the terror. But if you have a country that has just now said there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian, that's when you get into war crimes territory.
Yeah. No, it is. It's arresting. I'm trying to find the right word to sit in the studio every day, and as Connie just put her finger on quite nicely, watch the way the American media has just not covered this story. It's tragic. That's why I said earlier that we can indict the corporate media in this country for a lot of things. But this is a story that they just steadfastly refuse to cover, which is why I wanted to read for you the comments of the former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, because that's a story I know you're not going to see that in the New York Times today. You're not going to see that in the LA Times, Washington Post, USA Today. It's just not the way we cover this. And so as often as I can, I want to share with you the stuff that I'm reading that you may not run into except on this program. Connie always gives us a phrase of the day, and today it's WEI, white entitlement. Did you say impunity or immunity? Because either works. What was the I?
Either one.
Either one. I guess I said earlier, somebody needs to hashtag that. Not DEI, but WEI, white entitlement and impunity or immunity, you choose. For now, we thank Connie Rice. Connie, appreciate you. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Take care.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City's Rent Guidelines Board is adjusting proposed hikes for 2-year leases on rent-stabilized apartments, now ranging from 3.75% to 7.75%.
As the board implements its mandate to consider the cost of operating rent-stabilized buildings while maintaining reasonable rents, it must also consider the economic uncertainty reflected in much of the testimony.
1-year lease increases remain unchanged. Final votes are set for June 27th, with changes taking effect in October. Connecticut police have arrested a person of interest in Tuesday's mall shooting that injured 5 people. Shots rang out Tuesday afternoon at the Brass Mill Center in Waterbury, hitting 5 people. All 5 victims are expected to recover. And it's National Hamburger Day, and In-N-Out Burger tops the list in a Delish social media poll for best fast food burger. Fans also gave shout-outs to Shake Shack, Culver's, and Five Guys. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks missed out on the chance to reach 500 for the first time in 2 years. They lost at home last night to the Atlanta Dream 88-82. The Sparks dropped to 2-4. Next game for the Sparks is Friday night in Las Vegas to play the Aces. The Dodgers pulled away for a 9-5 win in Cleveland. Third straight game for Shohei Ohtani with a home run. He now has 20. The Yankees held on for a 3-2 win over the Angels in Anaheim. 4 straight loss for the Angels after their 8-game winning streak. Both conference finals in the NBA playoffs are at 3-1. Indiana beat New York last night 130-121. A brilliant game for Indiana guard Tyrese Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. Indiana wins the Eastern Conference if they beat the Knicks Thursday night in Game 5 in New York. Oklahoma City can win the Western Conference tonight. OKC is at home against Minnesota for Game 5. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You really about to do it?
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Baby! Change had much to say, but man, I still think them cats are crazy.
They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. I told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy. The boys are back in town, boys are back in town.
Okay. Stop, Miles. Stop. This is the generational thing, right?
Right.
So Miles is my boy out. He's a little younger than Ray Grady and Zoe Williams and Tavis Smiley. So I told Miles, since Ray and Zoe are coming in studio, which I'll give them a formal introduction in a second. I said, Miles, pull up a song called, The Boys Are Back in Town.
Right.
What am I thinking about, Zoe and Ray?
48 hours.
48 hours. Right? The bus boys.
Right.
Miles goes all the way the other direction and gave me the wrong Boys Are Back in Town. I can't start this conversation
without the right
Boys Are Back in Town.
Right.
Thank you, Miles. That's what I need. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We ain't gonna wait no more. We're getting ready to rock and roll. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Well, there's a reason everybody should be shaking in the house tonight. And you should grab your favorite lady and promise her you do it right. Tell back, Jack, to jump back and give you a shot of some blues. So you can party to some stomp down, butt bump and rock and roll, rhythm and blues.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah.
I know that everybody when they hear the music will be doing it on the floor. Jump up and down and turn around and tell the band to play some more. So tonight you can dance and romance and do anything you feel like doing. So don't look surprised 'cause you know what I like. And tonight we ought to do it. 'Cause the boys are back in town.
All right, now I can do this. Got to have my right theme music, right?
Yes, sir.
The boys are back in town. Author and talk show host Zoe Williams is in studio. Comedian Ray Grady is in studio, comedian and actor, to talk about their Comedic Relationship Roundtable Series, where comedy collides with connection. These guys are both insightful and funny. I'm laughing. They ain't even said nothing. I'm just laughing looking at them. I didn't mean it like that.
We look funny.
No,
okay.
I didn't mean it quite like that. Zoe, how are you, sir?
I'm alive and well. You know I don't do mornings, but this is cool.
It's good to have you here. Ray Grady, how are you, sir?
Oh, man. Ready.
There you go. I like that. Just ready. So I wanted to have you guys in because I am fascinated by what you all are doing here in L.A. And coming to a city near you soon. This Comedic Relationship Roundtable. So let me just start with this. Zoe, when I'm in the audience and you all do these Comedic Relationship Roundtable shows, what am I witnessing? Break it down for me.
So the idea, the impetus of it, Grady and I sat around and we were thinking about, taking what I do at smaller venues to a bigger venue. Mm-hmm. And of course, in order to do that, we had to incorporate someone who was already in those bigger venues. Mm-hmm. And that's Ray Grady. He's a comedian. He's always traveling all over the country. And he says, we got to make this a bigger thing. And so I said, let's pair the insight from clinicians versus the insight from comedians. Now, comedians are always saying that laughter is the best therapy.
That sounds combustible, though, Zoe.
Yes, I know. I know, and I want it. I want the fire.
Yeah.
But I got some friends who are some clinicians, and they were willing to sit down and do this versus. Mm-hmm. The clinicians will come on and give advice, sound advice, of course, clinical advice. Yeah. But then the comedians are going to come on and do their comedy sets that fit right into the subject, right into the topic. It's going to be amazing. And Ray Grady, he picked all of the comedians. Yeah. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
But insightful.
Yeah. What is, to your mind, Ray, so funny about relationships?
I guess the two people pretending. How about that, OG? You just love pretending in a relationship. I love you, sweetheart. I love you too, boo. Rub my this, man. Get out of here, man. They don't really like each other, OG. So that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm here for. Like, listen, we see all the stuff on social media. Everybody is telling each other what to do, but here's the difference: don't nobody like each other. Cut it out.
Wow.
So that's my job to be like, hey, stop lying.
Yeah.
You stop lying. You got your feelings hurt when you was 15, and you done made every woman or every man, you done turned on everybody. We can't have this no more. This is what Grady here for. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Why, if he is right, Zoe, why do we not like each other? Even as we profess, we all want to be in loving relationships.
We like our pain.
Ooh.
That's real.
Talk to him.
See, listen,
that's deep.
Familiar pain is better than unfamiliar gain.
There you go.
Say that again.
Familiar pain is better than unfamiliar gain.
So I'm comfortable staying with the pain that I know.
Come on.
That's a tattoo.
That's it.
That's a tattoo. That's a tattoo.
Where?
Do it again.
On your ankle?
You should get it. You should get it. For what? Say it again.
No, familiar pain is better than unfamiliar gain.
Why? Unpack it, Zoe.
Because our minds are association making machines. Mm-hmm. So we'll go back to the norm, to the familiar, before we'll embrace the unfamiliar, that which is unknown. It's very frightening for most people to forge ahead, so to speak.
Yeah.
In relationships, if you were raised in a negative environment, a toxic environment, that toxicity has integrated itself into your sense of self. Mm-hmm. Do you see? So now that's your norm. Yeah. So you'll attract the same thing over again, even though you may not want it, but it feels familiar. It brings a certain level of comfort. It's really a strange thing.
It's going to be rich. It's going to be
it's going to be good. He's deep. You got to give him the floor. That's why I was like, come on, man, if you don't get out of this, crack a jack box and let's go get the world, get the message. Come on, brother Zoe. You got to come with Grady. Let me show you how to go.
You going to call my round table a crack a jack box?
Well, yeah. That's what it is. I mean, we friends. I got to tell the truth. Let's go.
It's going to be a great hour with Ray Grady and Williams.
Well, yeah.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Yes, sir. From Alert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is Resilience in the Face of Chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique Dupree Prima with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
We love you.
Love you.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind I hear my conscience call, telling me I need a girl who's as sweet as a dove. For the first time in my life, I see I need love. There I was, giggling about the games that I had played with many hearts, and I'm not saying no names. Then the thought occurred, teardrops made my eyes blur, cause I said to myself, look what you've done to her. I can feel it inside, I can't explain how it feels. All I know is that I'll never dish another raw deal, playing make-believe, pretending that I'm true. Holding in my laugh as I say that I love you.
All right, so we started this hour clowning Miles for choosing the wrong "Boys Are Back in Town" song. Now we got to clown Ray Grady.
I mean,
so let me just set this up. I'm gonna get out the way because I know it's about to fly up in the studio.
Come on.
So we go to break, and I say, I look at Ray and I look at Zoe, and I say, okay, give me a great love song we can come back with to, kick off this next phase of the conversation. I repeat.
He make it painful.
I repeat. I say.
He makes it painful.
I said to my guest, trying to be nice, give me a great love song that we can come back with. And this Negro, Ray Grady, said,
I Need Love by LL Cool J.
Zoe and I looked at each other like, did this Negro just say, of all the great, Zoe, Barry White,
Teddy Pendergrass,
Michael Jackson,
Prince,
Anita Baker.
Come on, man.
Keep
Regina
going.
Bell.
And you can
LTD. We can keep going. We can keep going.
But you decided to choose
LL.
Well,
I Need Love.
So
is that a great love song, Ray Grady?
That was the first one I heard as a kid.
Oh, so you chose from the toddler playlist.
Well, as a person that like rap music, I was like, yo, this is a real rapper, and he making love music. Like that's what's missing right now, bro.
That's not love.
Well, okay, fine. It went with the
He didn't say puppy love song. He said a love song.
That was the first time I seen a little boy. Have you seen the video? Watch the video. Yeah. LL Cool J is touching and rubbing and bringing flowers and limousine rides and bathtub visits. He doing all this for this girl, man. We don't see her no more in his career. I swear to God. That's what I'm saying.
It's going to take me until tomorrow's show to get over this.
Yeah, right.
It's going to take me 24 hours to get over the nightmare of this as
the
a
ladies
real
love James
song.
Todd Smith, OG. And we can't forget that. So when you said bet it up. That's our era.
What about International Lover, Prince?
Dope. Why you ain't say it?
Lady
See, I was ready. See, you wasn't ready.
No, you wasn't ready.
No, Ray, you were not ready.
You were not ready, Ray.
You were not ready, Ray.
I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. Y'all said we need a love song. I was like, I need love. That's it. Okay. And then everybody was like, no. That's what y'all did.
You need some milk. Milk and cookies.
I just didn't dig deep. That's what y'all wanted me to do. Dig deep and go get Jeffrey Osborne. Okay. I didn't do it. That's okay.
Let us continue.
There we go.
Let us proceed.
There we go. Y'all didn't like my song.
No, we did not. We did not like your choice, Ray.
That's terrible.
For the rest of the hour, Miles and Zoe, Ray is not choosing the music.
No more.
There we go.
No more for the rest of the hour.
Man.
Zoe, what is it about love that we get so twisted? You were talking earlier about, give me that line again about pain versus gain.
I was saying a familiar pain
right.
is more acceptable than an unfamiliar gain.
So why does there have to be pain? I know that. Speaking of great songs, there's Ray. Pay attention.
I'll be quiet.
Pay attention, Ray. Joy and Pain, a great song by Frankie Beverly and Maze, right?
Yes.
So I get the joy and pain thing, but why does there have to be pain in love? in love relationships, though.
Well, what's beautiful, and I love this poem by Khalil Gibran, and he speaks on love, and he talks about the duality of love. And many of us have a misconception of love because we think it's supposed to be all good.
Yeah.
When in fact, some pain is necessary in order to get gain. But we've kind of recontextualized it to mean, oh, you have to take care of my wounds, you have to take care of whatever I've been through, you have to come in and fix everything. And unfortunately, that has set us up for in my opinion, one of the most difficult times in relating, because relationships have become exceedingly transactional.
Ooh.
Do you see? If you don't show up,
is that like gold digging, Ray?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah.
It's just like gold digging. That's exactly what it is.
What is that what you meant?
That's exactly what it means, OG.
Is that what you meant by transactional, though?
I think it's a type of spiritual gold digging.
Oh.
You know, because
unpack that for me.
Yes, because relationships are designed for you to do your work.
Right.
Right? I come into the relationship. It's holographic. It's mirrored. What does that mean? Patrick Carnes might call it trauma bonding. Right? Whatever I have not resolved in my spirit gets reflected back to me through the environment of relationship.
Right.
Now, you can say, okay, that's a fancy, flowery way of saying our conflict is related.
Yeah.
The internal conflict is related, and it's mirrored back to each other.
Right.
So relationship is designed to expose you to you. And many people, once they get exposed to self, that's when they run.
Right.
Instead of claiming the reflection, I'm going to blame the projection.
Say that again. So, ooh,
Instead of claiming the reflection, I'm going to blame the projection.
As Zoe would say, somebody meme that.
Somebody get it up on the meme.
Somebody meme that.
It's another tat.
You're a tattoo artist?
Keep going. Keep cooking.
But relationships are designed for that, for us to see ourselves, the growth of self-knowledge. That's how we learn about ourselves, is in relationship.
Right.
And we've turned it transactional, which you say, what is the transaction for? You have to serve my unhealed, unrequited wounds. Ooh. And that makes you a good partner. When in fact, the power is, you've exposed me to me. Now I claim what I see and heal it from within, so I never have to expect of you what I can give to myself. See, the first marriage, the first covenant of love must be to self. Self-marriage before you seek an external one. This is what a clinician or a psychologist might call individuation, where you merge your shadow self, right, with your mask. That creates a whole person. But what we have are broken people trying to match themselves up with external broken pieces to create a sense of wholeness.
He's cooking. He's cooking right.
You see, I ain't said that. I've been waiting to jump in, but I can't.
Yeah. you know what I was thinking while you were talking? So I was thinking, I don't really do relationships because I know I'm not an expert at this. I just stay out of that lane. I let Zoe do this, right?
Let him have it.
This program is syndicated to be heard across the country, but if you're in L.A., of course, you tune into Zoe every night. He's cooking with fish grease every night on my home station in L.A., KBLA Talk 1580, weeknights at 7 o'clock, and I'm trying to get him into syndication. I've been blessed to be in syndication. I'm fighting now like the devil to get Zoe Williams into syndication.
Oh, brother.
So the rest of the country can hear every night what this Negro's putting down.
This Negro right here.
Right here. What he's putting down every single night. Nobody in the country, I believe, is talking better and more holistically about relationships than my colleague, Zoe Williams. But as you were talking a moment ago, what occurred to me was the following. It's one of the reasons why I stay out of it. Not that you should, and I'm glad you don't, but I stay out of it because there's something funny to me about men always having access to the mic to talk about relationships. I'm thinking of Dr. Phil.
Right.
I'm thinking of Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the late, what was his name? Kevin Samuels. Everybody's tuning into Kevin Samuels. I'm thinking of Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I mean, this Negro divorced 2 or 3 times. He writing books about how to make relationships work. I mean, I ain't hating on Steve. I love Steve. But my point is that everybody, all these males giving advice about relationship, I'm not so sure that I understand that.
Well,
or get that.
I think what's important is, especially for men that do it,
right?
Lead with your flaws. Lead with your failures.
Are men capable of doing that? Leading with our flaws? Right?
It's difficult.
No.
Yeah.
You know, we have an ego.
Yeah.
Right?
That's my point.
Yeah.
We have an ego, so we don't want to feel, what's the word they're using now? Vulnerable. You know, we don't want to feel vulnerable or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's not for us, man.
Yeah.
That's for the women to talk. That's not for us. We do like, so what? Deal with it. Bye. That's it.
How do you lead with your flaws, though?
That's how you do it. So what?
So what? Deal with it.
Exactly. Deal with it.
That's it.
No, I here's the thing. When it comes to relationships, we have to understand that relationships equal self-work.
Okay.
Right? So men have been conditioned to be providers and protectors. So we use that as a shield to not look within. If I provide and I protect and I show up and, you know, all of that,
I'm a good man.
I'm a good man. I don't have to look within.
Right.
And if you have a successful relationship based off of that, you're like Sean Marion. You made a jump shot, but your form is terrible. That's the worst thing that could happen.
I didn't see that coming. Miles, did you see that coming? Did you see that coming? Sean Marion.
I told you he's different.
Wow.
He different.
But that's what I'm saying. The worst thing you could do is make a shot with a bad form, because now you don't want to change it.
Right.
You think that's it. This is what gender roles have done.
Yeah.
So men say, if I show up with the money, I show up with the provision, I show up with the protection, I show up with the presence, I don't have to self-reflect.
How much of this, though, is conditioning? We've been conditioned this way.
A lot of it is conditioning. Yeah. I think men are afraid of therapy, like they're afraid of the doctor, like they're afraid of a lot of government institutions, right?
Yeah.
But I think when you start to talk to the people about relationships, what you have to show is what you've overcome within yourself. So this is why it's so easy to pick certain people off, because we can say, oh, this sounds manicured. This sounds like just a pitch. This doesn't align with who we think you are. You don't seem like a person who's overcome self issues. So many people, if I have success, I can put success out there and you'll go, well, he's successful. He must know what he's talking about. But the reality of it is, when I get on the radio every night, I bear the truth about me, what I've failed at, what I'm still struggling with. Do you see? And I think that's the key to actually pulling people into this conversation.
One of the things I've noticed about your program, and this is very different, quite different than Kevin Samuels, and I've never asked you this as often as I talk to you. Never asked you this. So I'm putting you on the spot here
we go.
On the national air, and you can respond to this.
Spotlight.
There you go.
Welcome to the spotlight.
So Kevin Samuels was famous for all these women subscribing to his channel, and he would disregard women, disrespect women, just flat out diss women, and they would tune in every night anyway to hear his analysis. And when I got turned on to him a few years ago, he passed away, of course, some time ago, but I could not believe what I was hearing about how successful this cat was out of Atlanta. And so I tuned in a couple of times just to hear what he was doing, and I was gobsmacked.
Yeah.
At the black women who were calling, asking this Negro for advice, and being insulted and embarrassed and humiliated, and they were taking it. So that is not what Zoe Williams does.
But you know why they was doing that?
Why, Ray? Tell me.
They want to be seen, OG. That's what the women want. They want to be seen. If he was doing the same thing as Big Bro, this is the reason why we did Conversation Comedy, because everybody bites off of him.
Right.
So I take it personal, like, hey man, you know everybody do what you do.
Yeah. They not in the studio, Ray. Take it down a notch.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So no, I'm just saying, when they get to when they saw an opportunity to build an audience, that's really what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen to what he has to say, OG.
Yeah.
They just want to get on there. That's all.
But to be seen at the expense of your dignity?
Yeah. But remember, this is what's selling.
Yeah.
OnlyFans. It's a lot of stuff that just goes out, and we don't care about that no more.
Yeah.
We don't care about that no more. The narrative has shifted. Get it how you supposed to, how you want to get it.
The other thing I was pushing toward, I got 90 seconds or so. You can start and we'll continue when we come forward.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I was pushing toward, though, was that Kevin Samuels had all these women calling in.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a lot of women calling your show every night. But the thing that cracks me up is how you get all these men to open up and talk to you. Like, what is that about? That's the part that I just find. I you're my guy. I'm with you every day here in L.A. But I'm still just stunned at the number of men who you get to open up and talk to you.
Because I create a safe space for men to say what they want to say without judgment.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean without correction. So a lot of these guys used to listen to Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
Right? Again, you started the conversation about, that quote you asked me,
Right.
a familiar pain.
Right.
A lot of those women saw a familiar pain in Kevin Samuels. That's why he was so big. That's why they listened to him and endured disrespect, because they understood a familiar pain. Now, I'm going to make you uncomfortable with with my approach. My approach is to get you to do what Carl Jung says is the most difficult thing for people to do, and that is look at yourself as you are, without judgment. That's a very difficult thing to do. What he was doing, Kevin Samuels, was basically saying, this is how you conform, behave, and perform in a social construct, and this is how you move forward.
Was it Socrates that said the unexamined life is not worth living?
Come on.
The unexamined life is not worth living. Those said, I'm going to make you uncomfortable. Not painful, but I'm going to make you uncomfortable.
That's right.
So when we come forward, you used the word a moment ago that I want to pick up on in a moment here. You used the word judged.
Yeah.
You create a safe space for men not to be judged. Here's my question for you and Ray in a moment. Who gets judged more? Who does, men or women? Who gets judged more? Who's really doing the judging? Us or them? That's the question we'll start with when we come forward. And when we come forward, we're gonna let Zoe pick the love song we're gonna come with.
Yeah,
it would not be Ray Grady. Yeah, you are done.
Yeah,
you're listening to Ray Grady and Joe Williams on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Like Democrat Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey says El Salvador blocked his visit with the deported man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
The fact that they didn't let us in fact, they told us at the gate that we had to go back to San Salvador to get a permit, which is ridiculous. I'm a member of Congress. I should have the opportunity to visit with my constituent.
Ivey claims officials knew about the trip but denied access last minute, calling on them to cut the crap and allow transparency. The Trump administration is stepping up its fight with Harvard, ordering all federal agencies to cut ties with the Ivy League university. A letter from the U.S. General Services Administration has directed agencies to review and potentially cancel their contracts. And Southwest Airlines is ending its two bags fly free policy, aiming to boost revenue despite calling it a key perk months ago. The airline also plans to phase out open seating by 2026. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks missed out on the chance to reach 500 for the first time in 2 years. They lost at home last night to the Atlanta Dream 88-82. The Sparks dropped to 2-4. Next game for the Sparks is Friday night in Las Vegas to play the Aces. The Dodgers pulled away for a 9-5 win in Cleveland. Third straight game for Shohei Ohtani with a home run. He now has 20. The Yankees held on for a 3-2 win over the Angels in Anaheim. Fourth straight loss for the Angels after their 8-game winning streak. Both conference finals in the NBA playoffs are at 3-1. Indiana beat New York last night 130-121. A brilliant game for Indiana guard Tyrese Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. Indiana wins the Eastern Conference if they beat the Knicks Thursday night in Game 5 in New York. Oklahoma City can win the Western Conference tonight. OKC is at home against Minnesota for Game 5. no debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Memo to Ray Grady. This is a love song.
Yeah, you're right, OG. You got me on that one.
Boy.
That's London's finest right there.
You
though.
understand? That's
Jack.
sprinkles, boy.
That's dope.
Yeah, this is a love song, Ray Grady.
Yes, it is.
We are joined in studio in this hour by comedian and actor Ray Grady and talk show host extraordinaire Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason in L.A. weeknights on my home station, 7 to 9 p.m. Hopefully coming to a station near you sometime soon because ain't nobody putting it down on relationships like Zoe Williams is. Zoe and Ray are headlining with others, other friends of theirs, Comedic Relationship Roundtable. If you're in Southern California, you can see them live and in person and doing what they do. with this Comedic Relationship Roundtable, 7 p.m. Saturday night on, what is the date?
May 31st.
Thank you, May 31st. Thank you.
Yeah.
I see the time, but not the date. May 31st. There it is. I was hiding it under my thing. Thank you. May 31st. That's this Saturday, right?
Yes,
This Saturday, 7 p.m. at the legendary Miracle Theater in the heart of Inglewood, California. So if you're in Southern California, you can see, again, Zoe Williams, Ray Grady, and some other great comedians roast relationships.
Yeah.
It's a relationship roast. That's how I put it. It's called Comedic Relationship Roundtable. Again, this Saturday, May 31st, here in Southern California, 7 p.m. at the Miracle Theater in Inglewood. Get your tickets now while you can for a great time.
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes.
So I was looking at, in preparation for our conversation, Ray, looking at some numbers. I'm a nerd, right? So I'm looking at the numbers.
You're just smart, intelligent.
Is that what it is?
We're not going to call it nerd.
Yeah, we're not going to call it nerd.
All right.
Come on now.
All right,
we're not going to do that.
You can't let you do that.
I received that. I am not a nerd.
There you go.
I renounce my. Why is Miles rolling his eyes?
Miles gave you the look like, wait a minute. Hold on.
I don't know about that.
He might be a nerd.
Hold on, boss.
Wow.
Hold on, boss.
I think Miles just threw me under the bus with that eye roll, man. God dang.
Hold on, boss.
And I give this Negro a check every 2 years.
Yeah. Hold on.
I think he got caught. That's what happened. Zoe turned around at the wrong time.
I caught him.
I'm glad I wasn't looking up. Miles, I renounce my nerdship right now.
You're not a nerd.
Okay, thank you, Miles. I renounce my nerdship, but I do want to get these numbers out. So, Ray, what do you make of this? Black women. I'm looking at some stats, and this is the Bible because I'm quoting from Essence magazine.
Here we go.
For what it's worth, this is Essence.
Lord have mercy.
We need some estrogen amongst all this testosterone in the studio.
Here
right
we
now.
go.
So I'm bringing in Essence magazine. Essence Ray Grady says that black women are less likely to marry outside of their race, only 7% doing so as of 2017. Of that group, only 4% were married to white women. And Negroes act like there's an epidemic of black women marrying white men.
That's not true.
But the data doesn't support that, right?
And this is Essence, right?
Yeah, it's Essence.
Ran by females, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Next one.
Okay.
Whoa.
Next one. Get right to it.
Wow.
Get right to it.
See, this is why they call us toxic, Grady.
No, we don't want to hear all that. We don't want to hear that. We like them more, man. We like our sisters. They just trying it because they loyal, but they really saying nah. I got him over here. I go to Tahiti. I go to Cabo. You don't even go to Cleveland like that, lady. You know what I'm saying? If you don't cut it off and knock it off, Lake Erie beautiful too in the summertime. Lake Michigan is gorgeous in Chicago in the summertime, but you won't do this and take Rafiki to Tahiti? You want to go to Rafiki to Tahiti? Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right.
So
Essence did that, OG.
So why did Ray attempt to just run right past that stat?
Yeah,
I saw that.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to back it up, though. So.
Come on, let's back
Black
it up.
women love black men.
Okay.
Period. Now, sure, there's some wayward ones that, maybe have experienced, some negativity.
I like that word, Ray, wayward.
You heard it? Wayward.
That's a good Scrabble word.
That's a good one, yeah. Wayward.
Yeah.
But also, you could look and say RG3 on the man side. Little wayward. You leaned in going after a black woman when it was unnecessary. You had your white wife sitting in the back.
He leaned in a couple times.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and again, I just think black men and women are separated from each other in much the same way as we are in the voting block.
Let's keep it above.
Do you see?
Let's keep it above.
Black men and black women are the two largest constituent voting blocks in the Democratic Party.
No question.
Period.
No question.
But we'll focus on that small percentage and say, this is why we lost, and this is that becomes the story and the narrative of black love. I believe black love is more pervasive than the media presents.
You should have stayed with the dude, like you said. OG's called himself a nerd. All the bad women always looked over the nerds. They went to the street hustlers.
That's right.
They went to the athletes.
That's right.
They walked.
That's
I ain't
right.
gonna say the dope dealer, but I'm just saying I call him the street hustler.
Huh?
Right. So now that the brother said, all of them, them the good guys. Them are the good guys. So the guys that go to school know what a subject or the verb or pronoun is. Huh?
Preach right.
And then the women go sit up here and say, and there ain't no good men out here. Like, you walk past the dude that had a pocket protector.
Let me tell you something.
You walk, yeah, you heard what I said. You walk past the dude with the backpack. You walk past the dude that had the penny loafers with the pen in it. You walk past the dude that was wearing floods back in the day. Huh? So here we go. Cut it out, Essence ladies.
Ladies,
y'all okay? Knock it off.
Ray, you got me in PTSD mode right now because they walk past me so many times.
See what I'm saying?
I used to have, and one of them's probably listening right now. I used to have two best friends. Used to.
Oh wow.
My friend Junebug was my best friend all the way through high school. And all the girls loved Junebug.
See?
And they walk right past me.
See? Junebug.
Yeah. Then I get to college, and my friend Kai becomes my best friend. And everybody walk past me to get to Kai. And so now I don't have no best friends.
Wait, your best friends left you too? Hey, you know what Tavis?
I don't need nobody blocking, man. I don't need nobody.
See what I'm saying? They deserted you, OG, for nothing.
That's it.
And
man.
see, the woman, they just walk past, like, oh, hey, Tavis.
That's it.
Tavis, tell Kai to come here.
Not even
Tavis, Junebug in the house.
Exactly.
Get Junebug out here, Tavis.
Not even Tavis, Travis.
See what I'm saying? They mess your name up. Tavis, come here, Tavis. They mess his whole name up.
That's it, man.
Smiley.
That's my story.
No, but it's been my experience that women love assertive, confident, and intelligent men. Now, it's unfortunate that the bad boys' projection of confidence.
Stop being their friends, though.
I'm not being their friend. I'm just bringing context to this wildness. But I'm just saying, the bad boy gets. Don't be their friend.
No, so
don't help.
No, you're doing it.
I'm helping.
This supposed to be a safe space. Didn't he say that earlier?
Yes.
Didn't you say that? You said you create a safe space for the men to talk.
You trying to tell me women don't like intelligent, assertive men?
We're going by what the number said today.
The
Essence said.
Hey, that's just a number. Then you said it came from the women over at Essence. Now, which one?
Well, it's the same thing what we're saying here.
All I'm saying is there are women out there who prefer intelligent men.
100%.
But sometimes men lean so far on the nerdiness, the science and the knowledge and the information that they forget the
That ain't got
factor,
nothing to do
the
with
confidence.
taking care of them, though. That ain't got nothing to do with providing for. They ain't got nothing to do with being like, hey, this is my woman. It's okay if he like astrology. It's okay if he like ET.
We should ask the ladies to call in.
Yeah,
do they like bad guys or good guys?
You know they
and
don't like the
usually
bad
good guys are toxic.
Because they're smart?
No. Usually good guys are toxic. Why?
Why?
Because good guys probably have been wounded in childhood, and being nice becomes a performance in order to get something from the woman.
That's a good one. He got me on that one.
Yeah. Now sit it down and shut it up.
I got to be quiet on that one. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. You got me on that one. That's a good one.
While we step aside, I heard what Zoe said earlier, and I got to process this. You said that women like smart guys, confident guys.
Yes. Assertive
guys.
Yeah.
And you, Ray, and me are all those things.
We are all those things.
All day.
And yet.
Yeah. And then there's that.
Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Pastor and Mrs. William Sachs Epps on their retirement from stewardship at the historic Second Baptist Church. Dr. Epps has faithfully served Second Baptist as its senior pastor for 37 years. What a legacy of love and leadership. Pastor and Mrs. Epps will be honored at a luncheon on Saturday, July 26, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, and you're invited to attend. Noted scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is the keynote speaker. For ticket information, please contact epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. That's epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. To Pastor Epps and First Lady Epps, congratulations from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen. And this is Sarah Beth. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese.
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Tavis Smiley Show. Today is the Tavis Smiley, Ray Grady, Zoe Williams show. In this hour, I couldn't take 3 hours of this, so not a show, just an hour. 1 hour is enough for this.
That's a good one.
If you are in Southern California this weekend, May 31st, 7 p.m. Saturday night at the legendary Miracle Theater in the heart of Inglewood. Inglewood's on the come up, man, ain't it?
Come on, man. It's
Inglewood's
beautiful
on the
over
come
there.
up, man.
Yeah.
They'll be at the Miracle Theater this Saturday if you're in Southern California, May 31st, 7 p.m. for the Comedic Relationship Roundtable. You get a whole lot more of this with more comedians.
Yeah.
So the funny is going to be exponentially greater.
The funny is going to be crazy.
How you going to do your things though when you're surrounded by all these comedians, man?
Listen, man, he and I have this running thing. He thinks that the comedian's performance, because they're going to be talking about relationship in their sets.
Yeah.
He thinks there's more wisdom in their sets than there will be coming from the clinicians.
That can be true.
It could be. But I got some cold clinicians that's come through, and they ain't gonna play with y'all.
Listen. Everybody comes. We don't want when people have problems. Where do they go? When you go to the comedy show, they
go to therapy.
Yeah. we the real therapists. We can laugh at everybody's pain, and you can laugh at your own pain. There you go.
It's gonna be.
Always
good.
remember that.
It's gonna be good. It's sweet and sour pork, boy.
We'll take kung pao chicken.
I was just saying yesterday, certainly for black people, if we don't laugh, we cry.
All day.
Yeah, that's true.
So the comedy thing is, and comedians, the great ones at least, Zoe, I'm going to push back a little bit. The great ones deliver comedy and make you laugh, but make you think at the same time.
Absolutely.
The great ones.
Yes.
Yeah. So there can't there can be messaging in the stuff. So Ray may have a point, though.
We gonna see.
We're gonna see Saturday night.
It's really the verses of all time.
The clinicians versus the comics.
Yeah.
Wow.
We gonna see.
Okay.
I'm betting on the clinicians.
We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear none of that. We like, hey, like who like you. End of the show. We ain't got time to hear nothing about what Daddy and Mama didn't buy you. You didn't get the transformer to inspect the gadget.
Ray said, like who like you.
That's it. End the show. Bye-bye. Get up out of here. See y'all tomorrow.
Saturday, May 31st, 7 p.m., the legendary Miracle Theater here in Southern California in Inglewood. It's the Comedic Relationship Roundtable starring Zoe Williams and Ray Grady. Our remaining moments with them when we come forward.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
BET and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from Nits in the Ad Council.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected, supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and Ray Grady and Zoe Williams. I got 4 minutes left in this hour, which I have enjoyed immensely. As I said, I don't normally trade in the relationship stuff because I ain't no expert.
Yeah.
So
me neither.
But I'm pleased to have had this hour with Zoe and Ray. Let me try to turn serious one more again here. It seems to me, Zoe, that, and I was thinking about this last night in preparation for our conversation. It seems to me that, how about I put this, that black love and black marriage have always been cornerstones of resilience and identity in our community. I'm not so sure I believe that anymore, or that it's as, as real as it once was. Does that make sense?
Yes, because resilience is a good thing especially when you're doing self-work. Right. To stay the course, to not move away from the task at hand with regards to looking within. But when resilience includes relationship violence, relationship dysfunction, this generation is like, we're not doing that no more. Yeah. You remember our grandmamas and big mamas and granddaddies, they just would go to separate rooms.
Yeah, but they stayed in it.
Right? So this generation might be seeing resilience as a negative thing, right? But resilience is really supposed to be applied to self-resilience, right? Yeah. Looking at oneself, taking accountability, that takes a certain type of resilience. And I believe as they walk away from resilience as a whole, they're walking away from a critical piece of resilience that they need in order to grow up spiritually. Yeah. I'm talking to Miles.
Did any of that make sense to you, Ray Gray?
Not at all. Not at all. No. Yeah, he has a point though. I just think sometimes we like to go at each other throat for some reason. It's fun to compete with your baby dad. It's fun to compete with your baby mama or your ex-wife and all that. So we kind of, I don't know, man. We really like each other. It's just we trying to get it back to when we was at an even playing field, and that could just be whatever, the relationship.
Well, we got the best love in the world, though. Black love.
Yeah,
I think
I'm gonna put the 100 on that.
What makes it the best?
Because we're the descendants of the first people to walk this planet.
Yeah.
And I think there's a deep connection to our Creator, whatever name we call him. Yeah. And I think when we fall in love, we find that connection.
That's deep.
Yeah, there you go.
Ray,
say something against that, Ray.
He's coming for you Saturday night, Ray. If he's this deep on Saturday, you in trouble, Ray.
OG.
Okay.
This is AM radio, OG. When I gonna get down, it's gonna be FM. You understand what I mean?
I got you.
So yeah, he can have it. He can have what he want today.
Yeah. You will not besmirch AM radio.
It don't matter. It don't matter. We don't want to hear none of that over here.
No.
But what he's saying is 1,000%. I do agree with the black love.
No, I know where Ray's going. It ain't gonna be FM either.
All day.
Trust and believe. It's gonna be cable.
Yeah. There we go. We getting down over here, Jack.
Where there are no restrictions. You can say anything. You can do anything. It ain't gonna be AM or FM.
I can't wait. Let him have the floor.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you, Tavis, for having us.
No, it's my great honor to have you both in. Again, this Saturday, if you're in Southern California, the Comedic Relationship Roundtable is at the Miracle Theater, the legendary Miracle Theater in the heart of Inglewood, 7 p.m. Saturday night, May 31st. Ray, good to have you in, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, OG. Appreciate it.
Zoe, I'll be listening to you later on. Yeah.
All right.
Just like that hour went fast. I loved it. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Like Democrat Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey says El Salvador blocked his visit with the deported man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
The fact that they didn't let us in fact, they told us at the gate that we had to go back to San Salvador to get a permit, which is ridiculous. I'm a member of Congress. I should have the opportunity to visit with my constituent.
Ivey claims officials knew about the trip but denied access last minute, calling on them to cut the crap and allow transparency. The Trump administration is stepping up its fight with Harvard, ordering all federal agencies to cut ties with the Ivy League university. A letter from the U.S. General Services Administration has directed agencies to review and potentially cancel their contracts. And Southwest Airlines is ending its 2 bags fly free policy, aiming to boost revenue despite calling it a key perk months ago. The airline also plans to phase out open seating by 2026. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks missed out on the chance to reach 500 for the first time in 2 years. They lost at home last night to the Atlanta Dream 88-82. The Sparks dropped to 2-4. Next game for the Sparks is Friday night in Las Vegas to play the Aces. The Dodgers pulled away for a 9-5 win in Cleveland. Third straight game for Shohei Ohtani with a home run. He now has 20. The Yankees held on for a 3-2 win over the Angels in Anaheim. 4 straight loss for the Angels after their 8-game winning streak. Both conference finals in the NBA playoffs are at 3-1. Indiana beat New York last night 130-121. A brilliant game for Indiana guard Tyrese Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. Indiana wins the Eastern Conference if they beat the Knicks Thursday night in Game 5 in New York. Oklahoma City can win the Western Conference tonight. OKC is at home against Minnesota for Game 5. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You really about to do it? 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580. and we've got your black.
I'm Tavis Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this hour. And in this hour, as promised, a conversation with GRAMMY Award-winning alto saxophonist and composer Kenny Garrett. I hope somewhere in this hour we'll get Kenny to open up and reflect on his days playing with the late, great Miles Davis. And I certainly expect we're going to get a good preview of his weekend residency at the Blue Note in New York City. His new Blue Note performance is part of the Blue Note Jazz Festival, and so we are honored to welcome into this program the amazing Kenny Garrett. Kenny Garrett, welcome to Tavis Smiley. How are you, sir? Kenny, is your mute button on? I can't hear you, Kenny. Okay, here we go. The mute button's on, Kenny. Let's unmute you. I want to hear Kenny. Otherwise, we'll play some more Kenny music, Miles, until we get Kenny unmuted. There he is. Kenny, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Ted.
There you go. You do this every day. You figure out what it is. So often people are on mute until we go live on the air, and then they forget to take that mute button off. But it's great to hear your voice. How are you, for starters?
I'm doing great.
It's good to hear you, man. Good to have you on. Did you hear the track we were just playing?
Yeah, it was Hargrove.
Yeah, tell me. I love that track. Tell me about that track, Kenny.
Well, that's for one of our fallen heroes, Roy Hargrove.
Yeah.
Who we shared the bandstand several times with Chick Corea, Roy Haynes, just to name a couple of people. And during the time when I was, he had passed, and I was thinking about it, reflecting on it, and I just actually heard her. I had some chords, and I just started singing a melody on top of that, and that's how I came up with that track. But Roy and I, like I said, we shared the bandstand so many times. He was a great trumpeter.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been fortunate to work with so many trumpet players, so I know when they're on a certain level.
Yeah. Well, you would know. We'll talk about one of those trumpet players when we come forward in this hour. But since you mentioned you mentioned it, and I started because I love that track, Hargrove. What do you make of the musical legacy, the rich legacy of Roy Hargrove's music?
Well, I think with Roy, he embraced all of the different genres. That's what I really liked about him, because he was playing. I mean, not only was he playing straight ahead, but he was also playing funk. He had a band called RH Factor, and we were coming from the same place. We're like kindred spirits, And so I would always hear him different places, and I said, okay, I see where he's coming from. And I think as far as his legacy, I mean, all the music is here for people to hear it. I mean, he's played with so many people, this to name a few people. I mean, he's played, he's never played with Art Blakey, but he played with people, like I said, Roy Hargrove, and he played with his own band, So he leaves a long legacy. It's so much information.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a broad question. We're going to narrow it as we move through this hour. But since you went there, I want to follow you. You talked about all the great trumpet players you've been blessed to play with. And we'll get to, of course, Miles Davis a little bit later in this conversation. But just broadly speaking, and you're the music expert here, not me, but what has been your experience? What do you most look forward to? I'm just trying to put you in a frame to give you all the space you need to create. Just talk to me about playing alongside great trumpet players.
Well, when I played alongside of Freddie Hubbard,
right,
that was a lesson in itself, because Freddie always came to play. I mean, all he would do was warm up a little bit, that'll be, and he was ready to play. So for me, I had to get my stuff together. because he was at such a high level. I mean, every night, So I think standing next to him just helped me to get my act together. But it was a challenge because like I said, I was a young man trying to learn how to play, but Freddie was already at a high level, and from that, it sent me to the shed, and I was shedding, trying to get close to that.
Yeah.
And every day I think about playing with Freddie because Freddie's one of those great trumpet players that unless you have that experience playing alongside him, you can hear the records, but there's nothing like standing next to him, just firing all night, 24 hours. We used to say he had 24-hour chops,
Yeah.
And so, I'm always thankful, for that experience.
Yep. We are in the midst of the NBA playoffs right now, headed toward the finals, which I think is going to be Oklahoma City and Indiana. That's what it looks like. Two small markets, maybe not great for ratings for the NBA, but it should be some good basketball with OKC and Indiana. I raise that only, Kenny Garrett, because my view is, and I've had these debates, when you love sports, you have these silly debates all the time about who the greatest player is of all time, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things that I have always believed is that great players, I don't just mean athletes, any kind of player, great players make other players around them great. If you're really all that, then the people around you are going to get better. And so when you were talking a moment ago about going to the shed to get your own act together, as you put it, talk to me about the experience of playing alongside greats who made you better at your instrument, at your craft.
Well, there's so many. I had experience with Freddie Hubbard as well as Woody Shaw. Woody Shaw was another one. Harmonically, he was hearing the music differently than the way Freddie was playing, but Freddie actually inspired him, to find another way to play. So, playing with Woody and Freddie actually at the same time, I ended up learning the history of the trumpet, by checking out Freddie, what he would play, and then some of the things were reminiscent of what Woody was doing, but Woody had taken to another level. But I remember it being in Vanguard one night, and Woody Shaw was in the back of the Vanguard warming up. So I heard him warming up. I said, well, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So I started warming up, doing the same thing he was doing. So, those are kind of lessons you get. It's just, the main thing is, I think, Travis, is really being able to be in their presence and to feel that energy, and the spirit behind their notes. I think is so important for younger, myself, I was younger at that point, to be able to stand on the bandstand, because it's something you get. You can hear, you can watch YouTube, but there's nothing like stand on the bandstand. Like I stood on the bandstand with Pharoah Sanders. It's like, Pharoah Sanders stood on this bandstand with John Coltrane, but I stood on the bandstand with Pharoah Sanders, and I got a chance to hear him. We were sometime in at the same note. He would at the same note I was playing. I was like, wow. So he would go to the upper register, and I would stay down there. But it was nothing like experiencing that and hearing him doing his thing. And the same thing going back to the trumpeters. Not only Woody Shaw, but I played with Donald Byrd. I recorded with Donald Byrd. I played with Dizzy Gillespie. Just to name a few. I was fortunate to play with so many great trumpet players. I played with Cootie Williams, who was part of the Duke Ellington Orchestra, directed by Mercer Ellington. And out of playing with the Duke Ellington Orchestra, I learned how to blend with 18 musicians. And in turn, once I started playing with trumpet players, I tried to be as one. Yeah. I tried to match their sound and to just to get inside their sound and play as one horn. So that was a lesson I got from the Ellington band. And as I started to play with, like I said, with Freddie and Woody and Dizzy, and I started to take that lesson. And every lesson I got, I would just implement it in the situation I was in.
Our guest in this hour is Kenny Garrett. We're pleased to have him. His latest album is called Sounds from the Ancestors. He's preparing for his weekend residency at the Blue Note in New York City. More with Kenny Garrett when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast. Oh my God. But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on. On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Getting ready for his performance at the Blue Note in New York City, his weekend residency, and we are pleased in advance of that to be in conversation in this hour with the great Kenny Garrett, a Grammy Award-winning alto saxophonist and composer. Again, pleased to have him on this program as he is going to be part of the Blue Note Jazz Festival. So a great honor for us to have Kenny Garrett on this program in advance of that. Kenny, tell me about the track that we're playing.
That sounds like For Art's Sake.
Yeah, it is.
That's a song that I wrote for the late great Art Blakey and the late great Tony Allen. Mm-hmm. And I actually put both of those gentlemen together because Tony Allen wanted to be like Art Blakey, and Art Blakey had inspired him. And through playing a different genre, he found his own voice. And actually, before he passed. I saw him. We played a concert in Paris together, and I told him I had written this song for him, and he said, "Let's play it." I said, "We don't have it together yet, but we'll get it together." But he passed, so we never got a chance to hear it. But I basically, they're both, greats of their own genre.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, I do a lot of like tributes to, musicians who inspired me. I was able to, play with Art Blakey. Never got a chance to play with Tony Allen.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just about to ask that. For those who are tuned in at the top of the hour, we started this hour playing a track called Hargrove, which Kenny Garrett wrote in tribute to the late great Roy Hargrove, and now we're just played a track called For Art's Sake, a track he wrote in honor of Art Blakey. Talk to me about what that's about. You being so consistent about writing these tribute pieces, as it were, to some of these greats.
Well, those are the people who have helped me, and I'm always reaching back, trying to, to acknowledge, their help. I mean, it started from the beginning. Really, on every record, I always wanted to have the elders on my records.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, I always wanted to write something for them. Or I did a record with Pharoah and Bobby Hutcherson, Pharoah Sanders and Bobby Hutcherson.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to write something that would inspire them to want to play. And I always want to just give back. So anytime I have I would say a relationship with someone like that, I end up just giving back. I like to, that's my way, because it inspires me.
Yeah.
It inspires me to want to thank them, because I mean that's really was about gratitude. What it's about in the end.
Yeah.
So I always try to offer gratitude. I mean, and I've done it for so many people. I wrote songs for Woody Shaw. This called A Hole in One. That's Woody Shaw and Tiger Woods. I've written something for Freddie Hubbard, Brother Hubbard. I've written something for Brother Farrell. I mean, I write books, music for everyone, because I just think that it's very important for me.
This is one of those inside baseball questions, as the phrase goes, and I hope that you can put some meat on these bones and answer this question for me, as difficult as it may be. But as you were talking, Kenny, I was thinking about the late great Ozzie Davis, and I had the honor, the great honor of being invited by Ruby Dee to speak at the funeral of Ozzie Davis. And it was a great lineup of speakers. His longtime friend Harry Belafonte spoke, and Bill Clinton spoke, former president, and I spoke. And one of the reasons why Ruby Dee asked me to speak, I mean, I was a friend of theirs and loved both of them, but she asked me to speak in part because it turned out that Ozzie Davis's last interview was on my television program. And I pulled the transcript of that conversation to prepare my remarks, or at least what I wanted to say at the funeral, at the homegoing of Ozzie Davis at the Riverside Church on the Upper West Side in Manhattan, of course. But I pulled that transcript, and one of the questions that I got a chance to ask Ozzie Davis in that last conversation, interestingly, was how he went about preparing to eulogize Malcolm X. Now, just last week on this program, and for that matter all around the world, we celebrated the centennial birthday, the heavenly birthday of Malcolm X. So we, last week on this program, a week ago Monday, had his eldest daughter, Ambassador Atala Shabazz, on this program talking about the 100th birthday of her father. And so here you got me thinking, as you're talking about the songs you've written for Freddie Hubbard and for Art Blakey and Roy Hargrove and all the others, the tribute songs you've written, my mind went immediately to this Ozzie Davis conversation, where I again ask him, give me a sense of how you go about when you sit down to write a eulogy for Malcolm X. Just give me a sense of where you started, how you did that. Like, put me in that frame. And he, as Ozzie Davis did all the time, gave me a brilliant answer to my question. So I want to ask you a similar question, which is when you sit down to write this music for these greats, like, again, Freddie Hubbard and Art Blakey and Roy Hargrove, etc. Like, what's your process to the extent you can explain that or share that in a way that I and the audience can understand it or appreciate it?
Well, sometimes it's just it might be a rhythm,
right,
or some phrase that they played, or it might be some chord changes that they liked, or some chord changes that I came across, and it reminds me of that particular person. And then I start to try to see if I can create that language, or use some of their language in the melody, or the way they play, the way they stand, or the way they played a phrase. I just try to write that in the song. That's some ways. I just sometimes I just sit at the piano and I start trying to do something. I might just take a color or a chord, and I'll move from there. There's so many different ways to write. Sometimes a melody comes from the saxophone. Sometimes it comes from the piano. Sometimes it comes just from, like with Roy Hargrove's song, it just basically, I had the chord changes. I started singing the melody. I sang the melody into a tape recorder. And I said, well, that's the melody.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that captured Roy. Or I might write something for Pharrell. And I said, well, that captures Pharrell's spirit there. Or with Freddie, when he played the triplet, he had a little Sonny Rollins rhythm in there. So I'll add that to it. Just so many possibilities, of writing music for other people. And I think sometimes it's just, I think really just the things that would remind you. I wrote a song for Chick Corea. It's called Hey Chick. And we used to be on the phone. I would call Chick and I would say, hey Chick. And he would call me back, hey Kenny. So that went back on. So eventually I wrote a song for him called Hey Chick. This came from our conversation, about music. So it's coming from a lot of different places, not one particular place.
Yeah. You mentioned the word melody. And I'm curious, I asked this question of another guest on this program, I guess a year or so ago. And when you said melody, for some reason my mind went to that conversation. I want to bring that forward because I got a chance to ask this of that guest, but not of the great Kenny Garrett. Whatever happened to melody in our music, Kenny Garrett?
I think it went to people started getting more academic about how they would play. Because I remember as a kid, I went to the record shop, and I was trying to tell this guy that this melody, I couldn't really remember what it is. And I started saying, you know what, when I write melodies, when I write a song, I want to write a melody that people can remember. And that's where I started. But I think a lot of times people are getting away from that now, because it's about, it's not about the melody sometimes, it's about improvisation opposed to the melody. And I think that's what they were doing before, which they're not doing with as much now.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. I didn't see that coming, but I respect that. I think you're on point there. This might be an impossible question, but given that you are so proficient at both, do you see yourself first as a composer or a player?
Well, I've always thought of myself as a player, but over the years, I mean, I've written so many compositions that I kind of put them both in there together. Sometimes I'll do a record, and it's about me playing the saxophone. And sometimes the CD or the album is about, about melodies. I just want to play melodies, like with sounds from the ancestors. I just wanted to capture the spirit. When I was a kid, when Thanksgiving would come around, I would take all the records that I love, and they'd fill up my heart. I would take them out on Christmas Day. And I wanted to capture that spirit in it too. I was going back, recalling, because it was just a moment ago, but I was recalling when I was a kid and that music that inspired me to want to play. So that's kind of, for me, how I look at music sometimes. It's kind of, I might say, man, last night I was listening to Idris Muhammad as a record called Loren's Dance. And I just remember that, just listen to that song over and over and over and over. That's with Global Washington, Randy Brecker. There's a couple of people in there, and Idris Muhammad, the drummer. And those songs like that, the melodies and the groove, they send you to a place. And that's what I try to do a lot of times when I'm writing music. It's like, you know what? I want to see if I can get to that place. Let me go back to that place where music, it inspired me to do that. Because I've been from A to Z and back to A to Z. So you had to find other things to inspire you to keep moving.
Yeah. I am no Kenny Garrett, and that goes without saying. But I want to brag just for 10 seconds here, Kenny Garrett. I did play alto sax when I was a kid.
Okay.
And for 1 week, only because he was out sick, I was first chair in band. I stayed in that second chair, but for 1 week when he was out sick, I was first chair in high school band playing the alto sax. I wish all these years later I'd stayed with it. That's just a funny way of asking you, and I'm always fascinated by the backstory, as this audience knows, to how things come to be. How did the saxophone become your instrument?
Now, that's a funny one.
Yeah, it always is. I want to hear the story. It always is.
Well, my stepfather played saxophone, so I liked the smell of the case. So I would sit by him when he would practice, and because I love the smell of the case. It's one of the old cases.
Yeah,
had the velvet case, and I would sit there. And I remember one day he bought me a plastic saxophone for Christmas, and I would just run around the house like pretending like I was playing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, he bought me a saxophone that had a bullet hole, had been soldered, and he taught me the G scale, and then he sent me to music school, and that's how it started. But the saxophone was really just because I love the smell of it. It didn't have anything to do with the sound, anything. Just the smell of the case. I would sit there, and then eventually I heard the sound.
That's amazing. See, this is why this is why Kenny always asks this question. I'm always fascinated as the backstory of how something came to be, because typically there's something that most of us would never have known or considered. But you think about the music of Kenny Garrett and all the great stuff he has done. All the songs he's written in tribute to others. His new project is called Sounds from the Ancestors. Here he is getting ready to headline at the Blue Note in New York City as part of the Blue Note Jazz Festival. And I bet you didn't know that the way Kenny Garrett came to play the saxophone is that he loved the smell of the saxophone case. I did not know that. I did not know that answer was forthcoming. But that's why I ask these questions. I never know where it's going to go. We'll continue our conversation with the great Kenny Garrett. Again, he's at the Blue Note Jazz Festival, playing at the Blue Note May 29th through June 1st. But how honored are we in advance of all that to be in conversation right now on Tavis Smiley with Kenny Garrett.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black Democrat Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey says El Salvador blocked his visit with the deported man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
The fact that they didn't let us in fact, they told us at the gate that we had to go back to San Salvador to get a permit, which is ridiculous. I'm a member of Congress. I should have the opportunity to visit with my constituent.
Ivey claims officials knew about the trip but denied access last minute, calling on them to cut the crap and allow transparency. The Trump administration is stepping up its fight with Harvard, ordering all federal agencies to cut ties with the Ivy League university. A letter from the U.S. General Services Administration has directed agencies to review and potentially cancel their contracts. And Southwest Airlines is ending its 2 bags fly free policy, aiming to boost revenue despite calling it a key perk months ago. The airline also plans to phase out open seating by 2026. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year and their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks missed out on the chance to reach 500 for the first time in 2 years. They lost at home last night to the Atlanta Dream 88-82. The Sparks dropped to 2-4. Next game for the Sparks is Friday night in Las Vegas to play the Aces. The Dodgers pulled away for a 9-5 win in Cleveland. Third straight game for Shohei Ohtani with a home run. He now has 20. The Yankees held on for a 3-2 win over the Angels in Anaheim. 4th straight loss for the Angels after their 8-game winning streak. Both conference finals and the NBA playoffs are at 3-1. Indiana beat New York last night 130-121. A brilliant game for Indiana guard Tyrese Halliburton, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds. Indiana wins the Eastern Conference if they beat the Knicks Thursday night in Game 5 in New York. Oklahoma City can win the Western Conference tonight. OKC is at home against Minnesota for Game 5. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
BET and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Pastor and Mrs. Williams Sachs Epps on their retirement from stewardship at the historic Second Baptist Church. Dr. Epps has faithfully served Second Baptist as its senior pastor for 37 years. What a legacy of love and leadership. Pastor and Mrs. Epps will be honored at a luncheon on Saturday, July 26, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, and you're invited to attend. Noted scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is the keynote speaker. For ticket information, please contact epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. That's epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. To Pastor Epps and First Lady Epps, congratulations from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
hate stepping on Miles Davis. Good Lord. I mentioned earlier in this conversation that with Kenny Garrett, Grammy Award-winning alto saxophonist, composer, is our guest in this hour. In case you just tuned in, he's about to premiere at the Blue Note, a weekend residency in New York City, of course. It's part of the Blue Note Jazz Festival, and they got some great players at this festival, and it's an amazing festival. If you never attended it, get to New York and check out the Blue Note Jazz Festival. Kenny Garrett, one of the headliners this year. But I was saying earlier in this conversation with Kenny Garrett that last Monday we celebrated what would have been the centennial birthday of the brother minister Malcolm X. That was last Monday. This Monday, as in 2 days ago, would have been the 99th birthday of one Miles Davis, which means that next year, 2026, will be the centennial birthday of the GOAT, Miles Davis. But again, he would have been 99 on Monday of this week on Memorial Day. So we look forward to, Lord willing, celebrating the centennial birth of the great Miles Davis when we get to 2026. But I asked Kenny Garrett of all the things he played with Miles on. I said, Kenny, just give me one track on which you played with Miles that you want to come back with. And this is the track that Kenny chose. Tell me why you chose this track, Kenny. Talk to me about
it. It was a quick response.
Yeah, it was.
But but the one that I'm known for was actually Human Nature, but it's quite long.
Sure.
That's the one that people know me for. But I mean, I picked a Mandela because I like that record. That was one of the first record I did with Miles, and that's when the community, the jazz community, started to recognize me because I was playing with Miles at that time. But anything I played with Miles, I was always grateful for, because I learned so much. I give you a side story. When I first joined the band with Miles, no one told me anything to do. So Miles played a melody or a lick to me, and I played it back. And he played another one, I played it back. And that became our conversation. And for years, I learned from the master, from this, I call this almost like African tradition. He was African tradition. He passed this language on to me. And so it didn't really matter what song we were playing, as long as I got a chance to have a dialogue with him.
Tell me more about the way, in retrospect now, you see that dialogue, you and Miles talking back and forth on your instruments, Kenny.
Well, it's one thing. I think the great thing is that I could hear it and I could play it back. I mean, he would play like a melody or he was improvising, and I would play it back to him. Now, I didn't get everything 100%. I might have been 98%, but I would get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that was, in retrospect, I started understanding that I was learning a tradition of playing his language with him every night. And then it became part of my language.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, and you're absolutely correct. I started to play the Human Nature track just on my own. And I said, well, let me try not to be so selfish here, because I love you and Miles doing Human Nature together. I said, let me just ask Kenny what he wants to come back with. He came back with a mandala, as you heard him say. We played some of that a moment ago. But since you went there, I want to just go there. Tell me about playing on this Human Nature track with Miles, because you're right. Everybody knows you for that. We love you for that. Just take me back to that moment, that session. Tell me about playing with Miles on this song, Human Nature.
Well, before I joined the band, Miles sent me a tape to learn the music. And I heard Human Nature, and I knew exactly how I was going to approach it. So when the first couple of gigs I played with Miles, my microphone didn't work. I've always had a problem with mics. Matter of fact, there's a very famous concert from Paris where my microphone is not working again. I always had that. So I think the thing with I lost track of that question.
Human Nature. I was asking about you and Miles doing Human Nature. Yeah.
So with Human Nature, I just started playing. I just played what I had in mind, what I thought I could play on that, and he let it go, and he let me play, and he let me play, and he let me play, and I kind of went to this apex, and that was that. That's how it started. But I think the preparation for that was actually from Art Blakey. We had to play two choruses around the melody, and that was a quick solo. So I learned to build a solo from Art Blakey, and in turn, I was able to build this solo and keep telling this story until the end of that. But it just every night that after I played the first time, every night that's where we had to go, someplace close to that, if possible.
Yeah. You referred to Miles as the master. Indeed, he was, which leads me to ask, how does it feel? I'll never have this feeling in my life, but how does it feel to be playing with the master, and to use your phrase, the master lets you go. Lets you go, Kenny Garrett. What's that feel like, man?
Well, it's a respect and it's a trust, because that's Miles Davis. So if you allow your saxophonist to play a 10-minute, 15-minute solo, you must have a lot of respect and a lot of trust for this person. I like to use the word respect because it was basically every night. And he wanted to go transcendental every night. It's transcendental. Yeah.
Yeah. And since you went there, again, I'm following you. You mentioned that you've always had troubles with mics. What's that about, Kenny? You and microphones?
I'm not sure. I just know the first night it wasn't working. And then when we were playing in Paris, the story with that, we were there and it was cold in there and all night it was going, all that day we were rehearsing and we finally get to the gig, the microphone didn't work. I go to play my solo and Miles said, "Hey, Kenny, it's your night." So at that point, it's my night, but my microphone's not working. So he became like my mic stand.
Yeah.
He took his trumpet, and he held it. He took the trumpet mic and held it up for me, and I played it in his trumpet, trumpet mic. So those are great memories. That's for sure.
No, I was waiting for that. Speaking of great memories, I was waiting. I said, I hope Kenny gives it to me in Miles's voice. So I love I love the impersonation. Our guest in this hour is Kenny Garrett, a Grammy Award-winning saxophonist, composer. I wanted that moment. I lived for that moment. I waited for that moment to hear Kenny Garrett reflect on his time with the master, Miles Davis. I mentioned earlier that everybody loves Kenny Garrett for Human Nature with Miles Davis. A little taste of that as we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
As I mentioned, Kenny Garrett, our guest in this hour, is getting ready for his dates at the Blue Note in New York City, of course, as part of the Blue Note Jazz Festival. I should mention to you, Thursday, May 29th, 8 and 10 p.m., Friday, May 30th, 8 and 10:30 p.m., Saturday, May 31st, 8 and 10:30, and Sunday, June 1st, 8 and 10:30. So May 29 through June 1st, you can catch Kenny Garrett headlining at the world-famous Blue Note in New York City. I suspect you're going to hear some of the stuff from his latest album. It's called Sounds from the Ancestors, an album that blends jazz with R&B, gospel, and all kinds of global influences, reflecting, I think it's fair to say, his Detroit roots. The project, to my mind at least, pays homage to musical legends. Legends including Coltrane, Aretha, and Marvin. That's how big they are. You know them by one name, right? Coltrane, Aretha, Marvin. Talk to me, Kenny, about this latest project, Sounds from the Ancestors.
Sounds from the Ancestors came about I spoke a little bit about it earlier.
Yeah.
Just trying to go back and go to my roots,
mm-hmm.
and then also it was about experiences I had. This particular tune you just played, Sounds from the Ancestor, is a mixture of Afro-Cuban, Yoruban, classical, and jazz. And I was inspired by a couple of people, the great Chucho Valdez, the Cuban pianist. I played with him and did some concerts with him, and we share the same birthday. And so I really liked the way he composed, and so that's actually me playing on the piano on that track. So I just kind of went to kind of like this classical kind of vibe. And also the strangest thing is my repairman who repairs my saxophone, he's Italian, and he's always singing like these auras. And so I kind of combined both of those, the way that he was singing a certain kind of classical Italian song with this kind of jazz thing and classical thing, because I was trying to find out. I didn't study piano per se like that. I studied it, but not through a teacher like I did with saxophone. So and that's another story in itself too. But so I was just trying to combine that, and then I was hearing this Joe Rubin thing that I wanted to have. I never understood it. When I played with Chucho, I was like, man, what are these guys doing? What they're doing. So I was always looking for it, and I was finally able to put it together. So I was excited, to record the song. But it's just a combination of, like I said, classical and jazz and Joe Rubin, and it's a different side of me.
Kenny put it all together and made it sound good. It's called Sound from the Ancestor. Kenny Garrett, our guest in this hour. Our remaining moments with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
They've got some great artists at this year's Blue Note Jazz Festival in New York City in the month of June. But Kenny Garrett will start on May 29th, Thursday, May 29th, Friday, May 30th, Saturday, May 31st, Sunday, June 1st at the Blue Note. Iconic, historic, beautiful venue, of course, in New York City. But their festival this year, the Blue Note Jazz Festival, Grace Jones, Janelle Monáe, Branford, Marsalis, of course, Charles Lloyd, our friend and brother Marcus Miller, Kenny Garrett, of course, Joshua Redmond, Christian McBride, some amazing artists, Spyro Gyra, some amazing art, Gino Vanelli. That's just some of the names. There's a long list of them, but going to be a great festival, a great jazz festival this year, brought to us by the Blue Note in New York City. And again, Kenny Garrett, May 29 through June 1st. And I've been honored to have had Kenny Garrett on in this hour. So, Kenny, I gave the dates. What can people expect at these shows? Have you figured it out yet?
Well, we usually have, we like to take them on a journey. We like to have some fun. We like to play some serious music for them. Just come on out and have fun. You know, if you're coming from another place, another state, we welcome that too. We just want to see you there because we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, I can't imagine with all the stuff that Kenny has done. And again, we gave you some of the sound from his latest project. So it's going to be a great time in New York City at the Blue Note Jazz Festival. Again, you can just Google Blue Note Jazz Festival, right? Just look it up. And you can see all of the artists who are playing there, but it's going to be an amazing festival. I didn't mention the Harlem Gospel Choir. I love those guys. So it's going to be a great festival. And again, we have been honored to have had Kenny Garrett on this program in this hour. Kenny, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on. I wish you nothing but a great set, or series of sets, I should say, for the 4 days you're going to be playing. But a great honor to have had you on this program, man. I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Fat.
Good to have you on, my friend. Thanks for your time. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley. And as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black Democrat Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey says El Salvador blocked his visit with the deported man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
The fact that they didn't let us in fact, they told